And everyone's got something to offer. Everyone's got a story. And I always take something from everyone in life, a lesson or something that I like about them that I might apply into my own life and ways and narrative.
Hello, it's Zoe, and welcome back to the Mischief Movement podcast, your weekly inspo for people looking for more hell yeah in their life. Consider this your one-way ticket out of midlife mediocrity towards fun and positive impact via playful disruption. Wouldn't you love to wake up and feel like a total badass? How about breaking some rules, throwing two fingers up to society and doing more of the things you love? I'm talking full-on freedom, adventure, and those meaningful connections I know you've been craving. Get it! I'll be picking the brains of some true game changers and mischief makers so I can share what I find and hopefully inspire you to shake things up, do more of what makes you feel alive, and boldly rebel against the ordinary. I've no idea what I'm doing, to be honest, but I've got a mission and I'm here to start a movement. It's going to be quite the adventure. Care to join me? Okay. Here goes.
Would you recognise and accept a great opportunity if it came knocking, or would you be blocked by fear? How do you feel about challenging yourself? Have you ever wondered if manifesting really works? And what do Hamley's Blue Peter and chocolate have to do with any of this? As random as I'm making them all sound, Ollie Dunn and I discussed all of these things in a conversation that I truly loved so much. We are clearly on a similar wavelength when it comes to creating a life that's both mischievous and meaningful. So it was brilliant fun hearing his story, the highs and lows, and what drives him to keep being creative and pursue the things that light him up. I'll give you a clue. He loves a good challenge, is completely comfortable in his own skin and will push through any fear to get to the exciting parts on the other side. I couldn't have wished for a more aligned guest this week, and he brought so much positivity to my day. So it's an absolute joy for me to share with you right now our conversation.
I would say I'm excited to be sat opposite Ollie this morning, but I say that every time I speak to somebody, and it's going to seem like I'm not being genuine, but actually it's true. I am. I'm really excited.
Good to hear. Me too.
Just to set the scene, because my podcast obviously is audio only. Ollie sat here facing me with the biggest bright pink microphone I've ever seen. It's amazing. Why pink?
Thank you. You know what? I think the pink is like an expression of who I am in a certain way of like just, it is almost that rebellion. It's not the obvious colour. So therefore I become attracted to it. And everything was always monochrome. So Kim, my wife, and I, it's always been like black and white and all black everything. And that, and then it was all of a sudden, I got this pink jacket that just like this burst of colour. And then from then, I think I've just started to I painted my door of my chocolate studio pink.
Yes, I was aware of the door, but not the. So it was the jacket that was the catalyst for this.
I think the jacket was the catalyst, but then there was a reason I was drawn to the jacket. So I'm like trying to connect the dots back now. There was definitely a pink thing. I think there might have been a pink bandana because I always wear a bandana for work, and it was a black bandana. But then I like the pink. It's like just something. A burst of energy about that. So
it's like you said, it's unexpected, isn't it?
Yeah, and you know what is really nice is it does grab people's attention. Not that I'm an attention seeker, all right, maybe a little bit, but it's that conversation starter, isn't it? So the pink bandana or the pink beanie that I've got, you walk into a shop and so, oh my God, I like your pink beanie, that's random. And then you start this conversation with somebody and everyone's got something to offer. Everyone's got a story, and I always take something from everyone in life, a lesson or something that I like about them that I might apply into my own life and ways and narrative. Funny. And so there's a deep meaning to the pink, I suppose.
I love it. And I was looking at the photos of the pink door on Instagram the other day. It's very cool. So it's the door to a studio, but I haven't told anybody yet what it is you do. Do you? I'm
liking a tease. It's like a tease in this curiosity.
I don't know, but if I ask you what your mischief is, you can tell as much or as little as you like.
My mischief is that I get to have fun for a living, I suppose. I do things differently. I think I've been fortunate and I'm grateful for the opportunity to have worked in a family chocolate business. So there we go. We're getting somewhere here. But then I've been able to put my own spin on it, and I deliver chocolate making parties for kids, for adults, and it's all about giving people experiences, positive experiences around chocolate, and making things and being creative themselves. So I guess it's almost like a stubbornness of, I don't want a normal job. Like, don't get me wrong, I want to work hard and I want to work smart, but I want to really love what I do. So for me, like this whole like rebellion, I suppose, is I'm just doing it my way. I'm going to do this. And I always say, never ignore inspiration. So if something comes to my mind, like I'm going to paint that door pink, then why ignore that? Why should I ignore that inspiration? Because somebody might think it's silly, because someone might judge me for it. Like, who cares? Great, let them. But if that's the impulse that I feel, the inspiration, then I think it's important to follow that and to pursue it, because that then leads on to other bits of inspiration. And as silly as it sounds, like the pink door might lead to some amazing opportunities because it grabs somebody's attention, and you never know who's watching on social media and who's listening. So, I guess that's my mischievousness, but there's definitely more to it.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I do love the fact that even from social media squares, I get this sense of you doing things your way, but being authentic while you do it. So you mentioned earlier, you feel maybe you're a bit of an attention seeker, but I don't get that vibe. I get the vibe that you just want to play and have fun. And for me, meeting people who've managed to sort of blend that world of work and play, that is my ultimate dream. Like, I would love to be in a position where the boundaries are so blurred. Am I working because it feels so fun,
Is it becoming that way? Are you going in that direction?
And definitely. I mean, obviously the podcast is not my job, but I have so much fun doing it and having these conversations with people that it never
the knock-on
feels
effect.
It
never
never feels
as well.
like. I mean, it's a lot of work to put together a podcast. You know yourself, but it doesn't feel like work because it's just really fun, and I love listening back to these conversations. And I pull out so many gems for the listeners, but I'm taking them away. I feel like every time I talk to somebody, I glean some little nugget, and I'm like, oh, that's brilliant. I'm going to add that to myself now. That's.
You take you charge from it, don't you? And it is nice to listen back. That's lovely. I love that.
Oh, well, you are super positive in everything that you do. Like, have you always been that way, or are you just in a really good place in your life right now where you feel like you've kind of achieved that kind of work? Like, I don't want to say work-life balance, but all the kind of pieces are slotting together.
Yeah, it's a little bit of that. I mean, like everyone, I have ups and downs. I have good days and bad days, and I don't tend to post about bad days, if I'm really honest. Like, if I'm having a bit of a bad day and I'm feeling uninspired or a bit of a low mood and just can't really get going, and a few things are getting me down, like they do in life, like whatever, finances, problems, little bits and pieces, it's like I don't share those moments, because I feel that if I start to be negative, I'm going to drag other people down with me. So I deal with things like in my own way to pick myself back up. And one of the tools would be to listen back to previous podcasts that I've done when I'm in my flow and I'm feeling excited and I am happy and in a good mood. And that usually does help me to transition. And even looking back through social media posts, because they are like the highlights of my life. I'm sharing things on there that I'm excited about, that I want the world to see, I'm proud of. So looking back, it usually does help me to transition. I think I have always been a positive person. I'm very lucky that I've grown up in a loving family. Amazing parents and a sister that I adore. Like, we're a close family and we get on and we have such a good laugh together. We enjoy each other's company. So I think I'm very lucky to have that kind of foundation. To have seen my dad doing something that he loves. When I first was introduced to the idea of working for my dad in the family chocolate business, my dad was kind of saying, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, being like a moody teenager, nobody enjoys work, so it doesn't really matter what I do, does it? He said, well, why do you say that? So, well, my mates' dads don't enjoy their work and so on. And he said, well, do you think I enjoy my work? And I said, yeah, I suppose so. And he's like, why don't you do what I do? And I'm like, that sounds a bit too obvious. I think I'll steer away from it because,
Okay.
it's like, maybe I'll think of something else. I wanted to be like a radio presenter. I always wanted to be in like radio, TV. It just always looked fun. I wanted to do something fun, I suppose. But what I did do was I took the opportunity that my dad was giving me to see where it went. I had no other direction. I didn't know how to get into radio or anything like that. And it felt like perhaps that was a bit overambitious anyway. And, I should do something else. So I worked for my dad and I loved it. Every single day was different, learning new techniques, how to make chocolate truffles, chocolate footballer figures and all sorts. So like, I loved it and I never looked back. And then I was also inspired by how he'd started his own business from scratch. He worked in a sweet factory. He went and trained in Germany as a chocolatier. Oh, wow. And that inspired me, his journey. I wanted to help him in his journey to grow his business. But I also wanted to sort of have my own little thing because there was this one thing. I was making these little chocolate David Beckham footballer figures and like selling them to my mates in the pub when I was like 17 or something. And I just got that taste for like wanting to create and sell. And I'm seeing like I can actually have fun whilst doing this and I can actually make some money. So, at the time I had like 3 jobs. I worked in a call center. I worked in a kitchen washing pots. And I think it was working for my dad as well at the time. So yeah, wow, it was a lot. I worked hard and I tried different things. Like working in the call center was good to help me to build confidence and communication and sales, which I realized that if you can control the way that your voice sounds, then you might be either more likely to get a sale or less likely to. So that was really good kind of training, as was working in a kitchen and being under pressure and being, feeling the stress and how to cope with that and building the resilience. And then the family business, of course, just really busy at Christmas and enjoying the buzz and the thrill of that and keeping all the chocolates coming out and shelves stocked up. But then it was like the idea of doing kids' chocolate parties was going to be a sideline business that I enjoyed. It was something that tested me because I didn't know how to entertain kids. I knew how to make chocolate, but I didn't know what was going to, make them tick and keep them engaged. But I always, believe in the quote, ready, fire, aim. I couldn't have rehearsed for the chocolate parties. I had to just throw myself into the deep end and out of my comfort zone to learn how to do it. And learn what works, what doesn't work, make mistakes, fail, look back, reflect, how can I perfect it next time and get better. And I still want that now, always looking to improve. That was kind of my journey going from working with in the family business to like doing my own thing. And that's what I do now. So I have like my own chocolate party business next door to mum and dad. So it's very much like that family business feel environment. Where we call it chocolate streets. We've got my chocolate party room, which is over the other side, my chocolate studio, which is where I am now, where I make my content, and then the chocolate shop, which is like the hub and where it all began, which was back when I was born. So yeah, it's cool, it's fun, but yeah, look, it is all good fun. It is challenging, even the best days are like there's challenges to overcome, but it's worth it. I am lucky that I am in a good place, and I've got an amazing wife and daughter who's 2.5, Romy, and I am very happy. And I think you've got to look at the bigger picture sometimes. You can have bad days. Things feel like they're not going in your way, and things you're not going the direction you feel you want to be, and you're frustrated. But then you've got to step back, look at the bigger picture, and just be grateful for what you've got. And I think for me, storytelling like this now. This is like me practicing my gratitude, isn't it? It's, doing the whole podcast stuff. It's nice to really kind of feel that gratitude.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think are some of the challenges that you're facing right now? If you could name, I don't know, just 2 or 3.
Challenges?
Yeah.
I think the trouble with me is that I have so many aspirations and ideas, and I see so many opportunities within what I do, within the chocolate business. There's the sale of chocolates, there's the chocolate parties, there's also having people work for me. So pre-COVID, I had like 25 people doing the chocolate parties, and then that all stopped and it was just me again. So it's like, I see that opportunity to grow that business.
Okay.
There's the hen party side, which is a whole other thing, which we had called the Naked Chocolatier, which is all the topless guys delivering truffle making workshops. And that was so popular. And you can see why, you can imagine why. So there's only one of me. I only have so many hours in the week. I want to be doing things like this. I've got a podcast called Going In Deep, which I'm passionate about. Yeah, there's just so many different things, and it can be that's a challenge. And I guess that's a good problem to have.
Sure.
But I think turning 40 next year, I've got my little girl. It's like I have to be really careful and conscientious about how I spend my time, because money's not a driver for me at all. Like it should be, I suppose, but why? Like we're told that we have to like do certain things in life, like buy a house and have a certain type of lifestyle and car. And I think actually, if you enjoy what you do, that's the main thing. As long as you can keep things going and do all the essential stuff. So those are the challenges, I suppose, kind of finding the balance of absolutely loving what I do and bursting to get out of bed and go and do what I've got to do, whether that's a video or making something out of chocolate. But then, you know, like any business, you've got your financial side, you've got your, you know, incoming, outgoings, and you kind of trying to balance all that as well. So I think focusing on doing what you love is the right approach, I feel, because I feel like the rewards will come. It can take time. It can take a long time. But I think it's being consistent is the key.
Yeah. And it was interesting what you said, before we started recording, and you described chocolate as being more like the vehicle for other things. So do you want to tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah. Because just to rewind back, because you started by saying about the way that I come across on social media, didn't you?
Yeah.
So it's like, I suppose there is, like you mentioned, that positivity, and you know, maybe chocolate is just a tool or a vehicle of like platform of a form for me to communicate with, and then an icebreaker, a bit like the pink microphone or the pink jacket. It's like, you know, I'm the chocolate man. Oh, you're a chocolatier? What? That's your real job, and it sparks that intrigue and curiosity and conversation, and then you never quite know where that can lead. I suppose over the last couple of years, I've been on a bit of a journey of I don't know, self-discovery, becoming more authentic to who I am, who I want to be, kind of aligning with who that person is. And like my purpose, I feel, is to shine as kind of, as cheesy as it might sound, like shine as bright as I can and not let things get me down, and kind of live my life in flow mode and just you know, working hard but making people happy, whether that's with chocolate or without chocolate. And I think there's been opportunities in the last couple of years whereby I've been asked to present shows on social media for brands on TikTok, like 2-hour live shows selling products, and then presenting, recording like interviews in the streets of Manchester for a brand, Swizzles Sweets.
I saw
like,
that. I saw those. Yeah,
so that was so fun. Like literally just going out in the streets and like asking people questions about marshmallows, because it was around the product Marvelous or Madness, and doing a talk on stage for Brood magazine, which I've been a writer for and a contributor to. They had me do a talk on the stage, so that was a bit like my TED Talk moment. That is one of my bucket list.
Mine
I'd
too.
love to do it. Really? Oh, let's do it together. Let's do it. I love that. So I think I've seen people become adjusted to the idea that I am more than a chocolatier, and I've actually got that in a bio in something. I don't know whether it's Instagram. It is. More than a chocolatier, or more than just a chocolatier. And I think working with the likes of Ben Eastwood and Liam Gardner on the Going In Deep podcast, they've really pushed the Ollie, not the Ollie the Choc. The Ollie the Choc thing's great, and I've got the whole chocolate thing, and it's part of the brand and the identity, but there is Ollie as well. And I think they've really given me the confidence to like strip everything back and just be Ollie. And I think given me the confidence to say something like more than a chocolatier. And I do not mean that in an arrogant way at all. It's literally just like, I feel there's a whole world of opportunity almost outside of the chocolate.
Of course.
So I think chocolate's a great way to get into things like presenting, because I've been able to transfer the skills of presenting with chocolate across to, presenting products, merchandise, and whatever it is. So yeah, I think I'm just at nearly 40 starting to get the confidence and like belief in myself. It's crazy, isn't it?
Well, it is, but at the same time, I have so many conversations with people around about the same age who feel the same.
Yeah. Right.
I think just a couple of weeks ago, I was talking to somebody about the fact that the older I get, the more I feel like there's so much unlearning to be done.
Ooh.
Up until this point, it's all been about learning certain things, and now you get this far and you go, actually, I don't want that bit, and I don't want that bit, and I don't want that bit anymore.
So cool. The power of unlearning. So I've actually got this here. It says unlearn everything on like a postcard.
Exactly.
Yeah, I picked that up in an art gallery because it just really resonated with me. I think people can become, I don't want to say stuck in their ways, but we through our lives, we have our friends and our peers and our family, and we sort of think and do things a certain way.
Yeah.
But I think when you start to decide that that's an option, that it's not essential or mandatory that you have to do things a certain way, and you go, actually, I can just do things the way I want to do them, and I can have my own ideas and my own opinions. And it's I know that's exactly what you're all about.
Yes,
the
exactly. I'm like, I just want to hug you through the screen. This is everything.
It's great.
This is everything to me.
I love that. It feels so good to say it, knowing full well that this is your absolute passion.
Yeah.
But isn't that such a freeing thing? Like, I think when you're at school and even beyond that, you sort of feel like you should be part of a crowd and a gang and wear certain things or listen to certain types of music or speak in a certain way or whatever it is. And then you get to the point where actually, I don't want to be like subscribing to part of a crowd. I just want to be uniquely me. And then I think when you do that, and that's alludes to what you said before about the way that I present myself on social media, it's like people see it and they go, he's doing what I want to do. Like,
exactly.
Just being himself, being authentic, and he's making no apologies or excuses for it. He really doesn't care what people think, not in a bad way. It's like, I don't know. It's a really interesting topic, and I see why it makes such a fascinating podcast. So
I love it, especially the fact that you could have gone down that road of I'm a chocolatier and that's it. But it really feels like you would be putting yourself in a box, a very small one, by doing that. And it feels to me like what you've done is you've just smashed right through that and gone, yes, like this is part of me, but I also do this. There's also this side of me and there's also this. And as you said, you're just totally unapologetic about that. Yeah. And it's something that I would wish to transmit to everybody. That's totally possible. You can. You're more than just a job title. Your identity is made of so many different things. And I've said before on this podcast how for a very long time I felt uncomfortable that I have all these different elements in my personality, but I felt like I had to kind of turn them down because I was a footwear designer. And so that had to take precedence, and all the rest of it was like, just the side stuff. Whereas now I'm in a place where I'm like, but I've got this skill and I've got this experience and I've got this interest, and they're all equally as important and valuable as the other ones. That's kind of how I'm feeling at the moment. And I think that comes across with what you do as well.
I love that. That's amazing. That is so cool. Thank you so much. And everyone's on a journey and everyone's learning and you never stop learning. And I think you open your eyes a bit more when you get to a certain age. And I don't know what that is, and whether it's just having the confidence to, or I embrace age and wisdom. I do believe that like wisdom comes with it.
Yeah.
I'm passionate about breaking out of that box, like you said, and seeing what's out there. And what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, exactly.
And also passionate about like growth as well. Like I was shy as a kid, really, pretty much. And I think I could speak to a few people that were friends from school that would vouch for that. And my mum and dad as well. And there is still that.
That is
there
surprising.
is still that shine. Is it surprising? Yeah. That's good. But it's still there. And I think it's like I've had to overcome that in order to do things that I wanted to do. I wanted to do the chocolate parties because I saw an opportunity that was exciting. I thought it would work. I thought it could make me some money that could help me to get a car and freedom and all this like fun stuff. And I thought I'd enjoy doing it. And I did. And it forced me to grow in a sense of confidence building. It forced me to build new skills like presenting, which was something I wanted to do, but perhaps didn't quite have the confidence or know where to start. And then going from that to like let's move away from the chocolate and let's just sit with a microphone. And the first ever podcast I did, I remember saying to Ben, like, this feels so strange because I don't have anything to hide behind. It's literally just me, my voice, the microphone, and everything that I'm saying is it's like coming straight out of my brain and it's being recorded. That's kind of scary, but then I'm attracted to the scariness of it because I know that really. I know that there's going to be good stuff on the other side because I know that by repetition of doing it, I'll get better at it and I'll build confidence, and then it's like another string to your bow, something else to offer.
Yeah, I was also shy as a kid, and it was a self-confidence thing.
Yeah,
you know, and so my way of overcoming that was just as you said.
Right.
Being attracted to the scary stuff. That looks really hard. I don't think I could do it. So I'm going to do it.
I think that's the key in life. I think you need to go to and through your fears.
Yes.
And it's not nice.
That's going to be a t-shirt, isn't it?
Yeah. To and through your fears. Simple. Because I think it was Will Smith that said that all the best things are on the other side of fear.
Sure.
So tell me about your moments of going through fear. Is it like the podcast side or?
Oh, the podcast is definitely one, but I mean, there's a huge list. Most of my life has been spent doing things that scare me. The biggest one of all was definitely moving abroad. I am talking to you now from Italy, and I
didn't know that. That's amazing. So whereabouts in Italy is it?
I'm in the north of Italy. I'm near the border with Austria. So I'm in a beautiful area called Trentino, which is surrounded by mountains.
Wow.
It's beautiful. And I came here in 2010. It had been my dream to work abroad and immerse myself in another culture, learn a language. One of the things that attracted me was because the idea filled me with terror.
Yeah, that is so inspirational because that would be one of the things for me as well, like moving abroad. It would be so amazing, but I'd be too scared.
It was just this attraction because it felt, it's just what you were saying about something being exciting, about the idea of doing the kids' parties felt exciting, but also scary.
Yeah.
It was the same thing for me, for moving abroad. I was like, it feels so exciting that I've got to push through this fear to get to the exciting part. And that's what happened. I didn't expect to settle here, but I did meet somebody. And now we have a family together, and I've been here for 13 years. And that was not, expected. I didn't have that on my bucket list. I just thought I was coming for a year or two.
What did you head there to do? The location and the purpose?
Well, I was, as I said, I used to be a footwear designer.
Yes.
And with the company I worked for in Staffordshire, we had an Italian distributor. And I used to, I think if I tell this story now, it almost sounds like an amazing manifesting story.
Really? Yeah, love that.
But I mean, I'd never heard the word manifesting back then,
at the time you didn't realise you were doing it.
I had no idea, but I think if I were to tell it now, people might say to me, well, you manifested that. I don't know. But this is how it went. Yeah. I was working for a footwear supplier in Staffordshire, and we had an Italian distribution company who were selling our products over here. And I befriended them. I was very upfront about the fact that I was in love with the Italian culture, and one day I dreamed of going there and everything else. Yeah. And I kind of made it my aim to be as indispensable to them as I could, even though they didn't need any designing. They were just selling us stuff. I was like, I'm really going to, invest a lot in creating this business relationship with them. And we would be on stands together at trade fairs and things like that. And And in the meantime, I was like, I think I need to try and make this ambition, happen. And I started taking Italian lessons after work. And I started listening to Italian podcasts in my car. I had quite a long commute every day in the car. And so I was listening to Italian podcasts and,
That's cool.
like, I think I don't know whether I set my password on my computer as an Italian word, but like I was just finding all these tiny ways.
Love that. That's attention to detail. That's brilliant.
I think, as I said, I think now people would say you kind of manifested the opportunity.
You basically lined up with it.
Yeah.
You really lined up with it. Yeah.
And to end the story, basically what happened was, at some point, after a couple of years of knowing these guys, they obtained a license for designing and producing shoes for the basketball brand Spalding. Wow. And out of nowhere, I get a phone call saying, we need a designer. Would you come? And I was like, of course I would have been. I've been joking about this, in inverted commas, for the last 2 years.
Attracting.
And and then it happened. And so I found myself moving over here, having a dream footwear job. I could never have predicted that it would have ever happened, because for me it was a bit of a joke. It was like a dream so far-fetched that I never thought that it would ever happen.
How wonderful.
And then it did.
That's cool.
So, yeah.
I'm excited to continue partnering with Polite Club, a brand whose mission is to change the attitude towards vulnerability and to encourage more conversation around it in order to increase real human connection. Connection is one of my core values, as you know, so to bring more people together and help you rebel against staying the same, Polite Club are offering a cheeky 10% discount when you use the code Mischief at the checkout. 50% of the profits from this organic and rebellious brand are used to fund proactive suicide prevention in the form of coaching, support, and awareness raising. So get involved and become a vulnerable with us. For more info on the brand or to buy online, go to politeclub.co.uk or follow on Instagram at politeclubhq. P.S. If you are a small business doing things differently, an independent brand disrupting the status quo, or simply an unconventional, adventurous individual looking to create a positive impact, I'd love to hear from you about getting your story out there in the world and promoting you. DM me on Instagram at the Mischief Movement. Right, now on with the show.
Yeah, we maintain that relationship. And so I think that's why then when the opportunities come up, you are there.
Relationships are really important, aren't they? I think relationships are everything.
They're everything.
Like literally for your soul, they're good for good relationships and good people keep us going and keep our energy high and keep us inspired and also give us opportunities to do things that we love. People think of you, if they like you and they think you're a good fit, then you just never know what. For me, that's the most exciting thing about life is opportunity, and I think you can create that opportunity. We live in such an interesting time in this digital age where we're able to share what we want in effect, share the identity and the personality of who we are and who we truly want to be in order to attract more work, if you call it that, or opportunity that aligns with that, so like the Swizzles interview when I was going out in the streets interviewing people, I've worked with them as a chocolatier, so I've provided chocolate masterpieces and we've done like competitions and stuff, big chocolate houses covered in their sweets, and then they emailed me saying we want you to be our presenter for this job, and I was like, great, like you've seen that in me through the way that I presented myself on social media, and you believe in me in that respect, and that was huge.
And having watched some of those videos, I have to say you just come across so naturally as a presenter. So
thank you very much. Thank you. And I still strive to be a presenter. I still I'm not giving up on that dream.
You've also done some. Weren't you on Blue Peter?
Yes, actually, I know the listener can't see it, but I've got my Blue Peter badge right here in
Oh,
the little frame.
I can. Oh, that's
So
beautiful.
there you go. I'm really proud of that. Yeah, so in fact, I'm glad I manifested you asking me that question, because I was thinking about Blue Peter a minute ago, and I was thinking, I want to tell my Blue Peter story, and
tell
now
it,
I can tell it. There
I'm
we
all
go.
ears.
It was my biggest example of manifestation. And it reminded me, because you're talking about that. So I applied to be a Blue Peter presenter way back in like 2010, I think, something like that. They were sort of like promoting and encouraging people to apply by sending a show reel. So this is my first ever YouTube video, and it's really funny looking back on it because I look so young, and I don't know, I really wasn't confident either. I was like really trying to push myself to be this confident presenter that I wanted to be, clearly, but I wasn't there yet. I wasn't ready. Yeah. But you never are unless you do these things and make yourself. So that was the part of the journey, definitely. But I look back at that moment because I made a chocolate Blue Peter badge, and then I took it to Media City in Manchester and gave it to the Blue Peter team, because I had a contact that was like, he saw my video. So within the video, I made a Blue Peter badge out of chocolate, and I showed who I was and what I was about and presented. And then I didn't get the Blue Peter job, but then I had this chocolate badge. So I thought I may as well give it to them. So I did. Brilliant. And then I had a picture of me with the Blue Peter badge at Media City, sat on like the BBC sofa. And this picture was in my chocolate party room. So every single weekend, guests would come in and they would say, "Oh, have you been on Blue Peter?" Because they'd see the picture and same question. Yeah. I would always answer the same way. And I would say, "No, I haven't actually, but I did apply to be a Blue Peter presenter. And I made this badge and I've given it to them, this chocolate badge. And I'm sure that they will keep me in mind if they ever need someone to go on the show and make chocolate." And I literally said every single week in, week out. And I would say the same thing. I'm sure they'll keep me in mind if they ever need a chocolatier for the show. And then it became such a belief of mine that they will.
But it's an affirmation and a belief.
Yeah,
exactly.
It is. Exactly. They will keep me in mind. And I know they will. I know that if they ever need anyone, they're going to call me. Anyway, I'm saying this for years, and I believe I talked it into existence because I got this phone call on a Tuesday afternoon from Jack, who was one of the producers at the show. And he said, "Ollie, what are you doing on Thursday? Fancy coming on the show?" It was a Christmas special. And I'm like, "Thursday? Oh, let me have a look. Yeah. What time is it you need me?" And he's like, "Well, 11 for 1 o'clock, whatever it was. It's a live show." I'm like, "Right, I've got 2 corporate events, one in the morning and one late afternoon." "Yes, Jack, fine, no problem. I can do that," because these were virtual corporate events. So the first one I did from here where I am now, which was during COVID. And it was around that time, sending out kits where people make their own truffles or chocolate bars or lollies, and they do it with me through Zoom or Teams or something similar. And it worked really well. It kind of kept me sane, if anything, but it kept things kind of ticking over. It kept me relevant in social media, and it helped me build the skills of the presenting and the videos and out there. So anyway, did the first corporate event, went down to Media City, did the rehearsal and then did the live show, and someone gave me a Blue Peter badge just before we went live. And I was like, "Oh my days, this is unreal. What's going on?" I was wearing my full Christmas suit. I made a chocolate Blue Peter badge and presented it to the winner of the chocolate challenge, which was Lindsay. And with the chocolate challenge was they had to build a chocolate reindeer and Santa and sleigh, and within like 60 seconds. And it was like all the drama and the klaxon. And then it was like the winner gets the badge. And so I did the Christmas special, and then I went into the green room after and did my second corporate event. So the group of people from London that had just been watching me on the TV doing Blue Peter, and then they're like, "All right, okay, I'm going to show you how to make some truffles." That was like my second corporate from the green room, brilliant. Which I'd agreed with Jack and them. So it's crazy. And then I went and did an Easter special there as well, which was making a chocolate Easter egg using a balloon in the Blue Peter garden. So that was amazing fun. And I've done stuff with like Steph's Packed Lunch on Channel 4. So it's been a really exciting journey, and I feel like I always say it's just the beginning, because it is like every day, every minute is the beginning, isn't it? We're always at the beginning. What can we create next? It's good to reflect and look back, but anything can happen going forwards.
I love that. I feel like I'm going to be saying that to myself every day now when I jump out of bed.
It's just the beginning.
It is.
Yeah.
But you're not afraid to just say, "There's an opportunity. I'm going to go for it."
Yeah.
That's what I find really inspiring, and opportunities then breed other opportunities. It's just a bit of a, it's the start of the chain. Yeah,
they do. I always say it's all about taking action. Inspired action, I think, is important. Not kind of random action, but if you feel inspired to take that action, just take it. But I also always say, like, everything leads to something. Like, every single thing you do leads to something else. Like, this podcast now will lead to other things inevitably for both of us. Will be somebody that's listening that reaches out, that it sparks an idea or something.
Please tell me. Yeah. Please come back and tell me if something comes of this, because I will be so happy.
Because that's the fun, is it? Like, we connect the dots.
Yeah.
And there's this Steve Jobs quote, and it's like, you can't connect the dots in the future, but you can connect the dots in the past.
Yeah.
See, and it's so lovely to do it. Like, you were doing it with your journey going over to Italy.
Yeah.
I was doing it, relaying like the Blue Peter thing, and it's really nice to connect the dots. And you often go, oh, if I hadn't done that, and actually I was really scared of doing that, or I didn't really want to. And I think sometimes it's the things that you don't really want to do that are probably the things that you really should do.
Sure. Yeah. And the things that are the most scary are often the things that you should be doing. Yeah.
Exactly. So the scariest thing I've ever done was a bungee jump.
I've done a bungee jump too.
Did you? How did you feel? Really scared?
I screamed the whole way down. Yeah.
It's the most incredible, scary but amazing feeling.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, isn't it? I think people talk about it like it's scarier than a jumping out of a plane. Or
have you done that?
No, I haven't. Have you?
You need to do that. You need to.
Is that which? What do you think? How do they compare?
It's really hard to say. They're quite different, because the bungee jump I did was not that high in reality. It was from a crane height.
Mine was a crane height. It felt pretty high.
Exactly. No, it did. Don't get me wrong.
Well, not compared to jumping out of a plane, is it?
No. I remember very clearly standing on the edge of the little sort of crane box at the top, and the guy said, "Right, I'm going to count you down now, and once I say 3, you just got to let go. You don't have to jump anyway. It's not actually a bungee jump. It's more like you just let go and you drop. You free fall." And I could hear him. It was almost like slow motion. He was going 3, 2, like this. And I was thinking, if you don't move after he says 1, you're going to be there until it gets dark. You've just got
what
to
I
go.
thought. Honestly, it's like, if you don't just go, you will not go at all.
Exactly.
Like, you will then start to procrastinate, and the fear is going to kick in really bad.
What? And I was like,
just go.
Just let go. Just let go.
All the way up, I was just saying to myself, just go, just jump, just jump. Like that affirmation thing. I was like, just jump. So as soon as I got up, I was off.
Exactly.
And then you bounce up and then you fall again. So you're like, oh my God, I'm falling again.
I've got to do it again now. Yeah, exactly.
Because you don't anticipate that quite as much. So you're like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah, totally. I totally remember that.
I always think like that bungee jump moment was like me walking on stage with the Blue Peter badge in the Blue Peter studio, knowing that this is live on national TV now. So, and I was thinking to myself, just jump. I was literally like backstage behind the curtain. They were like, right, go. The music playing, go. Deep breath, just jump.
I can almost feel the adrenaline, like.
Yeah, we're probably living it. Oh my God. I hope the listener feels that as well. Like, I hope we get to feel something. But definitely doing things like that become like a benchmark in your life where you can apply that feeling and that memory to the next thing that you do that's scary.
Yeah, of course, because if you can do that, you can do.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same moving here. It's the same jumping up a plane. Yeah, I've done a lot of things that scare me. But as I said before, just for the pure fact that they did scare me was also the attraction.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know if I had something to prove to myself.
Maybe.
I think I did.
Maybe we do. I think we all do. I think we all
did.
have like insecurities, and I think it sometimes comes from childhood where kids can be mean and they sort of pull you down a bit to make themselves feel superior, cooler, I don't know, stronger, whatever. So as a child, I think you do go through stuff that probably it bottles up, and becomes
I struggled with being a quieter, a bit shy, a bit of an introvert. Yeah. That was my struggle. And I felt like, if only I could be a bit louder,
Maybe
if only I could voice,
That's really interesting, that, because then you think, like, what were you an introvert, like, sorry, an extrovert trapped in an introvert's kind of reality, like waiting to get out, like, but your circumstances weren't kind of allowing you to. So instinctively you knew that I'm not really an introvert. I need to let the extrovert me out. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Or are we supposed to be introverts and we rebel against it?
Maybe we just don't give ourselves any labels at all, and we just.
True. Labels, suck. Labels suck.
I don't know, but I do remember this feeling of as I was growing up, feeling, God, I wish I could just find my voice a little bit more.
Because you look at other kids and go, I wish I was like them, like really confident and stuff.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And I think maybe that's where some of this sense of, I've got to prove to myself that I can do these things comes from, maybe.
Yeah, definitely. It's building that self-belief, and confidence is so important, isn't it? We can easily pull ourselves down, can't we? Like, we can easily tell ourselves we're not good enough or whatever. So
it's that whole self-esteem part. And, I always say, I mean, I know you've got a little girl as well. If I can only impart one thing on my kids, let it be that they have enough self-esteem to grow up unafraid to try things and go after those opportunities. Yeah,
I love that. That's amazing. Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
I think as well, it's like every day is every day is a new day. Like, every day is a new beginning and a new fresh start. Like, we have to remind ourselves of certain things. And I think that's why it's really good to do this, because we're both we're not exactly saying anything we haven't said before to other people, but we're reminding ourselves and each other of certain things that we really believe in, that I think we take so much from and we charge from. And I think every day we almost need to remind ourselves of our worth and of what we're capable of, and of our ability and the things we've achieved in the past, and what we're capable of doing, and how many opportunities are out there. We almost need to keep daily reminding ourselves, because I think we can forget stuff that's so important.
Yeah, I totally agree. Just thinking about, all of the opportunities that you've had so far, but the fact that this is just the beginning. Have you got a kind of a mission, a bigger vision, or are you very much kind of like, I'm just going to take each day as it comes and each opportunity as it knocks on the door?
It's a really good question, and I ask myself it all the time, because I think sometimes the hardest thing in life is, I don't know, not necessarily for everyone, but for me, it's probably the hardest thing is, like, what do you want? Specifically, what do you want? And it's really hard to say, like, in one sentence exactly what I want. And I've also said before that I don't necessarily have a goal in mind, and that I'm actually just really keen and passionate about just enjoying the journey. Because I think life, like, I think you can put big expectations on yourself, and then you can sort of put happiness in a higher place that doesn't exist in the future or somewhere else, that you're then striving to get to this place that you'll feel happy when you kind of get there, and you've not got the self-worth or underachieved until you get there. Whereas I think that the true success is probably just enjoying every day, doing the best you can do, being the best you can be, and allowing sort of these opportunities to present themselves, and then being excited by the opportunities, and then taking it and learning from it, and not always getting it right, sometimes getting it wrong, and learning how to do better next time. And I think the world is changing so much as well. Like, a few years ago, I wouldn't have even considered some of the things that I've done in the digital world, like live shopping shows on TikTok with brands that I've worked with. That wasn't even like when I was at school ticking a box with what career I wanted to do. That wasn't a thing, and it can be now. So I think, I think for me, it's a case of looking at my life from a bigger picture. And when I'm a certain age, 90, for example, what would I look back on and think, what would I regret if I didn't do? And I suppose we've got such amazing tools like podcasts, YouTube, and I'm really passionate about chocolate. I'm passionate about making people happy, putting a smile on people's faces, teaching them something new, giving them creativity, giving them confidence, all the things that I want for my daughter, but to be able to kind of spread that far and wide. And I think I need to be more consistent with YouTube content. Probably that's at the moment, that's like a focus for me. And I think it's making the time to do that when you've got stuff going on, like when you've got life just happening in front of you and you're like reacting to things and your orders are coming in, you got to make your orders. And my routine's quite sporadic because one day I might be at a school doing like an educational workshops all day. The next day I might be doing a corporate event.
That's an interesting point on its own because I love looking at the variety of things that you get up to. That for me is it's so exciting, it's so interesting. I saw that you were in Paris doing a corporate event. I saw that you were in London doing something really fun in Hamleys. And
that was amazing.
From the external perspective,
that's good.
It looks really exciting. And I'd love you to tell me more about that. But what I'm also understanding from talking to you right now is that actually the other side of the coin is that you don't have that routine. So how on earth do you go about managing your life when it's, Paris, London, corporate, kids, YouTube, podcast?
No, exactly.
Tell me your secret so I can apply it to my life,
just
please.
Flying by the seat of my pants. So just literally winging it big time.
Damn, I thought I was going to get
I mean, I wish I could say like I'm part of the 5 a.m. club and I get my work done before 9 a.m. and then I go to the gym. And no, I'm not. I'm really not a perfect human being. I guess I work constantly. I prioritize. I make lists. I make sure I deal with things and particularly things that I don't want to do, get them done and out of the way. I think that's sometimes the right route to take. It's easy to be attracted to doing all the fun stuff and then you can let all the stuff build up that you don't want to do. So attack kind of those things first.
It's like that book, isn't it? What's it called? Eat the Frog or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's something like that. I don't think that is the title, but it's something about eating a frog. And it's the idea. The idea is do the things that you really don't want to do first.
And then it's such a weight off your shoulders, and then
exactly.
you're going to have like even more creativity then, I think, and buzz. So yeah, and I think making time for myself. So that's hard because you think, right, I might have a spare afternoon or something. That could be a great opportunity to make a video, but actually my head feels like it's going to explode. So I'm not going to go and make a video. I'm going to go for a ride on my one wheel, or I'm going to go and just even get into float therapy in float therapy and float on the salt water for an hour and just like meditate almost and just like be with my thoughts and just reset or go for a run. Yeah. So I think it's listening to the body, listening to the mind and always learning and always being open to new things and new ways of doing things.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm slightly disappointed that there wasn't some amazing big secret behind.
I think when you love what you do, you just keep going. You just literally keep going. Like you say, Paris, Hamleys, I'm just buzzing for the next thing and the next thing. But it is really important to stop and take a step back and just think about things that you've done, because it's easy to be like focused on the next thing or disappointed that you've you've not done the YouTube video, but you think, actually, hang on a minute, think about what you have done. Like you can't do everything.
Yeah.
You can't do everything all at once. It does take time. I made a really good video yesterday that I'm excited to share, which is how to make treacle toffee. So I didn't know how to make treacle toffee, but I had to make a video showing how to make it. So I had to be the expert. So to, master it. So it was like I made a batch and it didn't quite work. And then I spoke to my dad about it and he said, well, try this and try that. And I tried it again and it worked. And it was perfect. And I got this video done because I'm doing the cake and bake show in London at the Olympia. You've seen that. So that's in November. I think it's the 23rd. So they wanted a video of me making something around bonfire night. So I thought treacle toffee was actually my wife's idea. And I'm thinking, oh, that's a challenge that because I've never made it before. But I was so glad that I did. Like it pushed me out of my comfort zone a bit, and it's given me a great piece of content as well. And it's actually showed me that yes, this is what I want to be doing. Don't hesitate. Don't overthink it. Just get in the studio and make a 3-minute video of how to make treacle toffee fudge. And I'm actually off the back of that really excited about more of that.
More toffee, more videos, or more
videos,
events?
more. Yeah, I think it's like finding an excuse for a video and then doing it. So the excuse was treacle toffee, and then it was like, okay, how do I do it? Right, and then make the video, and then make it fun, make it engaging, make it snappy. I'm watching it back and thinking if I get bored there, I'll chop that bit out. And people's attention span's not a lot these days. So yeah, more videos. Starting with a reason for it, and then pursuing it. And I think I love like the whole throwaway content in a way because I like sharing my experiences. There's definitely a value in that because we've spoken about it, haven't we? Like my Instagram stories, and it disappears after 24 hours unless I add it to a highlight. And most of the time, it's just throwaway stuff. But I think it's important. It's keeping people engaged. It's keeping me excited. I love sharing stuff, but then I need to think about the evergreen content. So how to make treacle toffee, that video could stand the test of time, really. Yeah. So you've got people potentially searching that for the next 20 years or whatever. So it's trying to be, in that respect, work smart in the sort of content creation side.
Yeah. You could also set yourself a challenge, which might make it fun.
That's a good idea.
A friend of mine, who's a branding designer, Liz Mosley.
Okay.
She often talks about setting challenges to make herself do the things that she doesn't necessarily want to do.
I could prefer that to goals.
Yeah.
When someone says goals,
challenge is kind of cool. It's kind of fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
She set herself a challenge at the moment. She's done lots of these things before. She did one recently that was 100 rejection challenge, and that in itself, interestingly enough, brought her loads of opportunities just to kind of go back to what we were talking about before, because it just got people talking about it and people really interested in this idea that in order to get 100 rejections of various different things, it meant that she had to put herself out there in the first place. And that's obviously what it was all about. It was all about this overcoming the idea of rejection and just going, well, I'm going to apply for that. I'm going to pitch that person. I'm going to send an email to them. And she's just started doing a new challenge, something else. It's like, I think she's doing 30 reels in 30 days or something like that.
Oh, wow.
But I was just going to say to you that if the content creation does feel hard, turning it into some kind of challenge might make it more fun. Because I find the same. It's the same with sport things. It's just if I'm running, I need like
a distance or
I need a race. I need that kind of
accountability,
objective.
Really.
And same in like daily life. I think if I set myself some kind of challenge, it brings an element of fun and I'm like, can I do this? Well, I'm going to, and I've got
It's like you said before, proving it to yourself, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's so cool. That's a good idea. That to tap into that almost like competitive likeness with yourself, like proving something to yourself.
Yeah. Are you competitive with yourself?
Yeah, because I'm quite hard on myself.
You are with the paddle, I've noticed sometimes.
Yeah, I am. I played this morning. I've really enjoyed it this morning. And then I played a couple of days ago and I was like, I've not played for a bit and I felt rusty. And if I make mistakes, I feel silly. And I shouldn't, because it's just a game. Everyone makes mistakes. But I think I struggle with it sometimes because I think I do have that ability, and it really annoys me if I'm not able to tap into that ability. And I'm like, come on, what are you doing, son? Come on. I've always struggled with that with sport. I used to struggle with that with football, like playing as a team and you're playing doubles in paddle. I don't like letting down my teammate or teammates. So I'm quite hard on myself in that respect. Yeah. But then that's not a good way to be, because if you start being really hard on yourself, you find it hard to kind of get out of that, negative mindset. So whereas today I was like, I felt like I was back, and that feels so good. So I don't know. It's funny. Life, isn't it? I was thinking I perhaps shouldn't play paddle, perhaps just spend more time in my studio making videos, because that would align more with the kind of vision that I have for my own life. It's not to be a good paddle player, it's be a good chocolatier and kind of, presenter and stuff.
But that's interesting, because at the same time, you obviously get something from paddle, otherwise you wouldn't do it. It
wouldn't do it in the first place.
Didn't necessarily need to feed into the chocolate or
because it feeds into you, doesn't it? It's a part of the, I don't know, overcoming the challenges of paddle then apply to life, don't they? Because you go, oh, actually, I was really struggling with that particular shot or something, but I've actually I've sussed it and I've worked it out and I can do it now. And it's that self-belief again, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it can be a really good thing. Definitely. Yeah. I'll stick with it.
You touched on something there that I just want to go back to, which was the fact that making your treacle toffee video came from your wife, Kim, and that she sort of pushed you a little bit. Now she's got her own business as well, hasn't she?
Yes, she has.
What's that dynamic like when you're both entrepreneurs? Is there more understanding because you're kind of going through the same kind of issues?
Yeah, it's like it has its pros and cons. It's definitely, I would say probably in general, Kim gets it because she has her own aspirations and dreams of within her creativity and her world of jewelry design and homeware and clothing that she does, and the content creation as well. So I think, if one of us is sat editing a video in the evening, the other one understands. It's not like, oh, what are you doing on your phone? It's kind of like and I think in a relationship, it's all about communication, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think in life, in all relationships, communication is the key. So if she understands what my objective is, why I'm doing my why, then she supports that. And I think when you've got two creative people, you've got when you're both on fire, you're both firing, and there's all these ideas. You're writing stuff down, you're helping each other to like action, and it all flows. And that is a great thing. If we're spending a day together, Kim's working on some of her stuff, I'm working on some of mine. Kim's helping me with some stuff, like she's really good with graphic design, and she'll like say to me, what do you think about this caption or this email newsletter? And I'll read it and I'll be like, how about saying this? Oh yeah, love it. So it's literally like bouncing off each other. So that's really cool.
That's cool.
But then you do get days where, one of us might be down and not feeling it, and the other one is there to pick the other one up. Like, come on, get you to see it differently from a different perspective. So that is really good. But then you can also get days where you're both down, like when chips are down and you're both struggling. You're just like, and then that really sucks because you creative people, that can be really challenging but luckily that doesn't happen very often. And there's always another day, isn't there? You can always, often I think it's burnout. You just need to stop.
Just have a reset.
Sleep. And just,
sleep. Well, you've got a 2-year-old, so
I know
what that feels like.
You know the feeling. Yeah. Well, isn't life fun? We're very lucky to be here. We're blessed to be alive. We've so much opportunity, and I think sometimes you got to remind yourself of that. We're just lucky to be here in the first place. We can't get annoyed about silly little things, like just lucky to be here.
Yeah. Before we wrap this up, I just wanted to ask you if you've got a particular highlight of your life so far, not necessarily in a work capacity, but, is there something that you really look back on fondly that just makes you go, this is, a pinnacle for me?
The Blue Pizza memory was definitely like a childhood dream to go on Blue Pizza. So that was definitely a big one. Like, that does make me smile when I think about it. When I told that story before, that it filled my heart with joy. I felt warm. I think as well, the Hamleys experience as well. That's a very recent one, so it will come to mind because it's fresh. But my mum and dad came, and I didn't know they were coming, so that really surprised me in a really nice way. So I actually think that will be one of my biggest like highlights in my life, because I felt so proud being there doing like edible slime making with the kids, and it was like all these celebrities and their kids that have been invited like before the store opens, and then I did a show for the public when it was open, and it was just such a good energy, a good vibe. It was everything, because it was like the logistics of getting my chocolate machine in an Uber to the venue, and there's like in a trolley and up the lift, and then being surprised by my mum and dad, and Kim helping me, and Kim sort of melting the marshmallow, and I'm putting the green chocolate in, and I've got the microphone. I got my Britney Spears microphone on. I'm running around and I'm ducking and diving to get through the crowds. And it was such a challenge. I was sweating, like it was tough, but everyone was loving it. And I had the room in the palm of my hand, because not only were they making edible slime, they were making lollies, they were decorating, putting little edible eyes on, all Halloween theme. I was piping chocolate mustaches on the kids' faces, chocolate tattoos on the hands, and on some of the adults as well. Some of the parents and grandparents, they were all just kind of embracing it, and I was in my flow, I was in my element, and I was so proud that my mum and dad were able to come and see me do that. My wife Kim was helping me, and my mother-in-law brought my daughter as well, so she got to see me in action. So it was literally like, wow. She was really good as well, my little girl. She just sat like watching daddy, and we didn't know how that was going to go, whether she was going to try and like get to me or whatever, but she just like was just watching it. It was so cute, so funny. So yeah, that was such a buzz, and I was like on the ceiling. It was unbelievable high for like the rest of the day and the week and so on.
Did your parents, what did your parents say after they'd seen you?
They were just like, they just didn't stop smiling, and they did say, "Oh, so proud of you, so proud of you." And that was amazing. It was amazing to have them there. Felt very lucky to have them there to sort of share that moment. And I think just to be in such control as well. And it's only through years of experience in working with kids and with big groups, and knowing that I needed the machine, needed that it was there for the theatre, but it helped things to run quicker and smoother. The microphone, all the details. It felt like I've been practicing this for years, and here I am. And then they've got Linda from Loose Women, and she was loving it. She had a chocolate moustache, and before she left said, "Linda, don't forget to get me on Loose Women and making chocolate with the ladies." She was like, "Oh, I will. You just never know." And it's like that. What's going to be the knock-on effect from this?
Yes.
We will see. It might be 6 months before we find out.
Of course,
who knows?
They're not instant things, are they? But
no.
You're sowing the seeds.
That's right. I said that to Kim. I was like, I'm sowing seeds everywhere I go. I'm sowing seeds.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it's fun.
Oh, Ollie, this has been amazing.
Oh,
Thank you so much for sharing some of your stories and your knowledge and stuff with me this morning.
Thank you,
I loved it.
Is
there one thing that you would like the listeners to take away from our conversation this morning? If I could pinpoint you on one particular message or thought or something to make them think differently, what do you think it might be?
I think don't ignore inspiration. Whatever that is, just be authentic to who you are and what you want to do in life, however ridiculous it might seem, whether it's to pursue something that seems unrealistic, pursue it anyway, regardless what your mum or your best mate or anyone thinks. Just do it. Take the action, and you can only learn from it. Even if it doesn't end up being the thing that you end up doing, it takes you on a journey somewhere, because everything leads to something. So it might be that you think you want to do something and you go ahead and you're at least kind of taking action. So yeah, just do what feels right and what is true to you. It's always the beginning. So do what you want to do.
I think I'm going to print my own t-shirt with that on,
Love it. Drop the mic.
Oh, amazing. Where can people find you on the social media?
Yeah, so if you type in Ollie the Chalk. Ollie is OLI, and Instagram, Facebook, whatever Twitter's called these days. And I'm TikTok, YouTube. YouTube is Ollie the Chalk, my world. And so, come and see the weird and wonderful things that I get up to. And like Zoe says, just such a variety. One day it's chocolate, one day it's something else. So even I don't know what's going to happen. So I find it quite interesting to see.
Life on the edge.
See what happens. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ollie.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
You're
Stay
welcome.
mischievous.
Yes, always.
That episode was so much fun. Here are my takeaways from this week. Number 1, never ignore inspiration. Who cares what people think? It's important to follow how you feel, because the things that inspire us can lead to all sorts of unexpected opportunities. So keep leaning into the things that excite you. 2, no experience in the working world is ever wasted, as there are lessons to be learned everywhere, from how to sell something or organize your time, to being able to understand what you love, where you excel, and the skills that you'd like to develop further. Ready, fire, aim. Often in life, you can't rehearse things, so the best way to learn is simply to get out of your comfort zone and throw yourself in. Try something new, reflect on it, implement changes, and improve as you go. Get the fire in first, and then the aiming comes afterwards. Number 4, we all have bad days or periods that feel harder, but it helps to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Be grateful for what you've got and make it a daily practice. 5, shine as bright as you can. If you can see your own uniqueness and differences as a gift, not an obstacle, it will feel so unbelievably freeing. 6, unlearn everything. Well, maybe not every single thing, but it definitely pays to start to question the things you believe and where they've come from. When you decide that doing things the way they've always been done isn't the only way, you can replace the old ideas that don't resonate with you with exciting new ones that absolutely do. 7, go to and through your fears, because the other side is where the magic is. 8, relationships are everything. The good ones give us great energy, new opportunities, and keep us feeling inspired. So invest in creating and maintaining great relationships. 9, you don't need to rely on luck, because you are 100% capable of creating your own opportunities. So keep taking that inspired action. Let the world know who you are and what you're trying to achieve in order to attract more of what you want and those key people who are going to help you make it happen. 10, every day is just the beginning. When we go to bed, we get to wipe the slate clean and start all over again. 11, get things done by attacking the ones you don't want to do first, to make way for creativity and the more enjoyable things that you really do want to do. 12, listen to your body. Step back and make time for relaxing, whether that's meditation, going for a run, watching some TV, calling a friend, whatever it is that you need to reset your mind and allow space for creative thinking and new ideas to come through. I'll be taking a little break over the festive period, which is great news for you, since you can not only catch up on any episodes you may have missed, but you'll also have time to play along with the 12 Days of Mischief Challenge, starting Friday the 1st of December. Sign up via the link in the show notes and you'll receive daily prompts over 12 days for tiny little acts of mischief that will spark fun, connection and giving back, whilst also edging you out of your comfort zone and approaching things differently. Just tag me on Instagram with the hashtag 12 Days of Mischief, or directly using @TheMischiefMovement, so I can see your mischief in action for your chance to win daily prizes. Let's see if you can accept a challenge to yourself that is fun, no stress, and might just show you that you are capable of all sorts of cool things. If you're listening to this after the 1st of December, no dramas. Just join in with the remaining days, or even play along at some point in the future. 12 days to complete 12 cheeky tasks to get you feeling good, whatever time of year you're listening to this. Oh, I hope you loved today's episode and it made you think differently, or perhaps nudged you into changing something in your life that's not working for you. I'd love to give you a shout out right here on the podcast too. So do let me know what you think, what you'd like to hear more of, or how you've been inspired. Let's keep in touch over on Instagram at the Mischief Movement. It's changed. Did you see that? Or click the link in the show notes to sign up to my Mischief Mail newsletter, where you'll get exclusive insights on upcoming episodes and your chance to submit questions to future guests. But shh, don't tell anyone. It's our secret. Now, please keep spreading the word about the podcast. You're doing an amazing job. And I'm also super grateful for your 5-star ratings on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, because these seriously help my mission to inspire and empower more people like us to choose mischief over mediocre. Have a great week and keep making mischief. Ciao.